here's the P&L for today. 542.50. It was a bit of a struggle here in the early session. Took a couple of losers, and then we really started to pick it up there mid-session and later on, and we were able to fight our way back into the money. We had a lot of grinding that we had to do because of the last couple of sessions. They've been red. The market environment is changing rapidly, and it's starting to slow down a lot. And what I've noticed is the book is really getting very thick, and it takes a lot of volume to actually create price movement. So it's a decrease in volatility for sure. But we're going to be looking at these trades. Not all of them, because there are a lot, but we're going to be taking a look at some of these trades. And the first one we're going to be looking at is this minus 200. The other two were just damn near break evens, but yeah, we'll go ahead and take a look at those. Hey guys, quick interruption. One, sorry about the audio today. I didn't realize that it was getting two different instances of my microphone, but I do fix that later on. And second of all, thank you to TRADECRAFT for really helping me out throughout my trading journey. TRADECRAFT is an amazing software that lets you track your trades in real time. You can create different trade setups and track them individually, and then gather edge on all of your different trading setups, and it really helps you intraday while you're trading. It almost becomes that of a checklist and really will improve your trading. Code Sean 5% off. Back to the video. Alright, so here we are. Here I am. I'm trying to get filled at this 66 for whatever reason. I know what the reason is. I know, there's some demand kind of showing their cards here. But in reality, this play is very aggressive. But we did have the support of this 59.60 area. And so I'm looking to get this 66, and this is NQ, by the way. And I'm trying to play it back towards the EMA, but because the lack of volatility, I would have probably taken it off a lot sooner. But we're going to see that this trade actually does not go my way. Alright, so I'm long here at the 66, and I'm trying to have a positive R trade, but this is about a 1-to-1. But, as you can see, they're kind of clearing the gap back down to this demand. Which isn't surprising at all, considering the context of the day is we were just trending straight down, and I really, especially early on in the day, I shouldn't have been deploying longs. This was like, if we go back and look at my TRADECRAFT journal, this is definitely going to show up as a red trade because I'm taking longs, and I always talk about I never want to take longs when we're just trending straight down. If I'm going to take longs in a trend, I need a range to set up at the bare minimum. We're just trending at this point. So there was really just no reason to take this trade. Alright, so next trade we're going to look at is another loser for $280 here on NQ. Looks like it was a 30-tick loser. Alright, so next trade here is a trend continuation trade. I don't think that this was a bad trade at all. I think just due to the nature of the lack of follow-through in this market, that's probably why this didn't work out, or there was just a large bid that kind of squeezed me out. But we're gonna see what happens here. So I'm short at this 57, and I'm immediately underwater. So I do take some size off here at 57 because I noticed that some demand is starting to step into the market. So I take a break even on it. And then I flip long. So this is very aggressive. This isn't something typically that I would do or should be doing. But I mean, the trade would have been a little bit more acceptable if I would have waited for this candle to close and then see some more demand step in. But really, all we have is this 90, and obviously we're still downtrending. So when I review this, I can definitely tell that I have some sort of long bias for whatever reason. So yeah, we're long at this 59. Very aggressive, not a great entry. But all in all, we're still obviously bearish on the market. You know, we're trending down. I shouldn't have taken this trade. My initial trade was totally within reason. We didn't get any candle closes above this demand zone whatsoever. This red box, for me to really justify getting long, we would need to see a candle close above this red box, and then a retest of some demand, and then I would take the long. But we didn't get that, so that was clearly a trading mistake. And then afterwards they do end up puking it down. So we did get that candle close, but all in all, this area is still held as resistance. And this is something that we're seeing, man, is a lot of these fake outs. Like, we faked out these shorts, we just ticked them out, and then we just shove it right back through, which is really interesting price action. That's why it's definitely been a struggle for me recently. But yeah, off to the next trade. All right, so next trade we're going to be looking at is this 212.50. What is this? Short. This is a short. All right, so we're not going to be able to see what exactly my thought process was, but I do know that this was a higher time frame setup. This giant red box that we're seeing is a very, very large seller on the 30-minute that created this nice area of supply that I was looking to get short with, because I saw that we were starting to close below it. So this is a bullish to bearish moment. Typically you want to see this level hold, but since we did not hold the level, I'm looking to trade it in the opposite direction. So I'm going to get filled here shortly, and this I've switched over to ES at this point, by the way. So I'm short 81.50, and if I do recall correctly, this was news, and I got lucky. Because it could have, this volatility easily could have stopped me out, but I'm looking to get the fuck out of this thing ASAP. I'm pretty sure I already did, but yeah, so I took that off pretty much instantaneously. I want to see if we can see my fill. Yep, there it is. I don't know if you saw it, it was quick, but definitely could have took way more off of that, but I mean, it's news, and I didn't know what the news was. Pretty sure it was like something, Trump had to have said something, or some political figure or something. But yeah, that was a nice winner, and luckily on that news candle, it respected where that supply was, and it was able to push it in my favor a good bit. Alright, so next trade we're going to be looking at is this 360 here. Alright, so on this trade, I'm going to be getting long the 91 here. And this is a bit of an aggressive trade, especially because the story today was to just short, and I'm once again getting long. Really have a long bias for whatever reason. I don't know why I keep getting long. Alright, so I'm filled at the 90, and I'm looking, what the idea is, I have demand here at these 90s, so I'm long the 90, and I'm looking for these same buyers to defend their positions here at the 91 area and try to play it up to these highs. Typically I would try to go for this supply here, but with the current environment that we're dealing with, I'm just trying to take a quick scalp up to these highs. And I do believe I get the fill. Well, obviously I do, because it was a winner. But yeah, this is that trade. So I'm going to take one off here at the 96. I am long too. Came close to getting that fill. So I get the fill there. I'm still in one contract, and I did take it off quite a bit early here, but I need to bankroll. So now I'm looking to play it for those highs. So I took it off at those highs. And I'm pretty sure I could have taken a bit more off of that. I could have got the full TP. Yeah, that would have been the full TP. But I am in quite a hole, so I'm trying to dig myself out of it and just trying to take the best trades possible. Alright, so the next trade that we're looking at is this $200 win, and then we'll look at the rest of these and then that'll be it. But next trade we're looking at is this $200 win, 40 ticks in my favor and 0 against me, which is really nice. You don't see those too often. Alright, so here we are looking to get short with this supply up here. We're kind of in the middle of the range, but I'm noticing that we've got this trend going. We're just making lower highs, lower highs. I'm playing for another lower high because I see this supply here. So I'm looking to get filled at this 97, and immediately is running in my favor, which is great. This is exactly what you want to see. Those are the best trades, when they just immediately go in your favor and you take it off for a winner. I took it off at this previous demand here because there's no guarantees that we get that trend continuation. And once again, I'm trying to fight for this P&L, which typically I don't trade my P&L, but when you get into a hole like this, it's really important to generate some sort of cash flow to prevent further loss, even if it means mitigating some of your potential returns. Because when we've all been there, you know, when you have a large trade that you're up, say, $600 on it, and then it comes all the way back to your break even, and then you got to take that break even. When you're in a hole, that can really do a lot to your psychology. So I'm just trying to get those easy layups and dig myself out of this hole. So that was that trade. Next trade we're going to be looking at is this loser here for minus $200, 38 ticks against me and only 13 in my favor. Alright, so the trade idea here is we've got a pretty clear range forming, and so I'm kind of saying to myself, alright, I know I shouldn't be taking longs, but since we do have evidence of a pretty clear range here, I'll go ahead and take these longs at, what is this, 68. So I get filled at this 71. Obviously there's some good selling in here, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to blow out. Obviously in this case I'm pretty sure we do get blown out. But nonetheless, it's not a terrible trade. Really, the main issue is that we're just downtrending, and I kind of step in front of that downtrend. But once again, we had evidence of a range, so there was still a probability that we fall back into that range. It just so happened that this time sellers were strong enough to push out these longs and generate some move to the downside. So we're going to see the stop get filled here. And I was trying to play for a break even there, but unfortunately I didn't get it. And it is what it is, you know. Move on to the next trade. That's really all you can do. But we are heating up at this point. We were on quite a win streak. But I got two more trades for you. Two trades, both for $340. Alright, so this trade is a very good trade. This is a really good trade. Probably the best trade and most clear trade that we saw today, in my opinion. So this is a 5-minute time frame chart, and the same stuff that we typically look at from as far as order flow perspective. But what's different about this chart is we have aggregated ticks. So the tick size per tick on this chart, I believe, is 20 ticks per one price level. So instead of your typical one tick candlestick chart or order flow chart, each one of these ticks is, instead of one, it's 20. So these imbalances are very significant. So I noticed that we broke below this 563 imbalance, and we trapped some longs, squeezed them out, and also at the same time put this 657 imbalance in up at these highs. So I draw this red box as a supply zone because, you know, we've trapped these buyers and we also have new open shorts. So I'm looking to get short with these guys up in this red box, and you'll see it when I switch back over. I am short at this point, but this is that exact same red box that we drew on the 5-minute time frame chart. So this is that zone that we're seeing. And so my trade idea is to take this off. I'm not sure what price level this is. We'll see when I get out. but take it off here, and my risk was probably just above this 85 imbalance, and you can see it going in my favor here. I'm probably going to take one off here shortly, right here with that demand. I'm probably going to move my TP up a little bit, yep, so up to 39 because I see some demand stepping in. They did wipe it out. So there, it looks like I took the whole trade off. Looks like I took the whole trade off. I definitely should have held that to just above that demand. I don't know why I didn't. Looks like I got shook out a little bit, but nonetheless, still a good trade, great trade. And took it off for 340 bucks. But again, the P&L does not matter. P&L doesn't matter at all. We're just trading the setup. But sometimes in the situation that I find myself in now is because I am in a hole. I am kind of, like I said, trading the P&L just to mitigate leaving money on the table because I need to get out of this hole. So moving on to the next trade. Alright, so this next trade is another great trade. I had an amazing entry on this trade. I believe my entry was just above this previous high, and my thought process, it was basically the exact same, you know. It's that same exact supply zone that we just took, so it's basically the same trade, except this time I waited for market makers to sweep out this liquidity from this high. So I got in right above this high here, so I'm short right above that high, and this is where we're trading at, and I've got my risk just above this this supply here. So I've got a lot of things going for me. I've got trend favor, we're trending down. I've got a good imbalance on the larger time frame. I've got trapped longs on the higher time frame, open shorts on the higher time frame, and I've got this 85 imbalance on the lower time frame. And I got the top tick of this range, and what a top tick is when we just barely poke above a previous high. And all of those things, all those boxes are checked. So I was really feeling good about this trade, and I'm pretty sure in this trade I try to push it a little bit more, but we'll see here. Alright, so here we are. It's going against me a little bit, but again, my entry's so good. We barely see any drawdown on this trade before it goes in my favor, and it's really going fast. I'm trying to get filled. I did get filled on that first contract. That should have been a little quicker. I didn't mean to do that. I'm looking to take it off at 46, but I 100% should have held for these for that demand a bit lower. So yeah, I 100% should have held for these lower prices because it was a nice clean rejection. But once again, trying to mitigate some of that risk and try to fluff the P&L a bit to kind of get back in the game and have a good green day. My bad, so just realized I had some audio stuff going on. But if we come over to TRADECRAFT here, instead of looking at the P&L from our trading software, we can now come over to the TRADECRAFT journal, code Sean, 5% off, by the way. Best journal on the market. We can see our P&L in all of the trades that I've tagged. These are all my setups. So if I click on the last trade that I just took, I know that it was an edge zone trade and it was a 5-minute time frame, also combined with a 1-minute time frame for execution. And so I track all of these trades, and every single time that I take a trade, whether it be a win or a loss, I'm going to tag these trades in all of the accompanying group tags that go along with it, and then I can come over to my statistics and look at my statistics. Alright, so I've filtered my statistics to just show my statistics from today for all the trades that I took today. And one thing that I'm noticing is my edge zone tag, and just to clarify, my edge zone tag are the trades that we talk about on this channel mostly. It is the order flow, supply and demand sort of trades. And I'm noticing that I had a 64% win rate today when I was scalping. All of these trades are scalps, and these are point to points, which is kind of in between a scalp and a hold. And what I'm noticing is I did really, really well scalping, almost $1,000 scalping with a very high win rate of 64%. But if we come over to my edge zone on the point-to-point, which is almost a hold but not quite, I didn't win a single trade and cost me a lot of P&L. So what I'm noticing is, if I didn't take a single hold trade, I would have made roughly $1,000. And why the TRADECRAFT journal is so imperative to have is because without knowing and tagging your trades and what type of setups they are, you're not going to know that in whatever environment, especially this environment, that you should 100% be scalping. Because as you can see, my scalping is doing way better, at least today, than my holds. So if I didn't try to go for any holds, I would have made a lot more money if I had just scalped. Alright, so if we take off the date filter, now we can see my stats overall throughout my whole entire data set of tags. So we're going to be looking at that edge zone tag again. And as you can see, overall I have a 50% win rate as the tag as a whole, but I have more narrowing tags that kind of specify what type of trade falls within this parent tag, which is my edge zone. That's the order flow trades. As you can see, my B2B moment, my 30-minute edge zone, my 5-minute, they all have very, very high win rates. So another reason why TRADECRAFT is so important is because now you can see what setups within a parent setup, what statistics they get. As you can see, the B2B has a 72% win rate, the 30-minute has a 67%, and the 5-minute has a 65%. Comparatively, the 1-minute only has a 47% win rate, and the sub 1 minute only has a 42%. So since I've collected these stats, I know whenever I take a setup on the 1 minute, I'm not going to be able to push it as hard as I can on a 5-minute setup or a 30-minute or this B2B moment setup. And I'll make a separate video about this setup because it is a little bit tricky. But this shows us when we should really try to push the trade and push size. Without seeing this, without knowing this, you don't really intimately know what setups you're trying to trade and how you should size them appropriately. That's why this is so important. And yeah, don't pay attention to all the other stuff. I'll probably make a separate video about this, but just for the scope of this video, I know that those 5-minute setup trades that I took were great trades, and that's why during the trading day I was so confident in those trades holding and those trades going, because I've collected the statistics on these trade setups. So I know that this trade, when this trade shows up, I should take it, no questions asked. And that's why it was so much easier for me to take those 5-minute setups that we just went over, and those are the reasons that they were likely winners. Very high win rate. But once again, TRADECRAFT, amazing software. Code Sean, 5% off. Help your boy out. Help the guys over at TRADECRAFT out. And yeah, that's about it. See ya.